Okay, live.
Well, that got away from me. Battle for you, battle for me.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Of course, it looks like this is the second ping pong podcast of the day, because we recorded one when we were in Austria, but that one was recorded August 6th in Austria. We're not in Austria.
Back in California.
At Sears, at Del Amo Mall in Torrance, California. So Jacob and I were talking about his favorite days of our trip. So is there anything you can share with the ones or people who want to tune in and hear about your review of our trip?
There were some highs and lows. The low being Venice, because it was hot and there is no mobility whatsoever, and the boats take an hour to get on, and once you do get on, you're cramped on a boat with nowhere to go because you're in the middle of the ocean. Well, river, sea? What is Venice technically flooded with?
Canals.
But where do the canals lead?
They lead into the Adriatic.
Sea. Sea is the answer. Adriatic Sea.
Which leads into the Mediterranean.
There you go.
Which leads into the Atlantic. Or to the Suez Canal, depending on which way you look at it.
So Venice, not good. Did not like Venice. Too hot. It made Malmo, Sweden, and Copenhagen, Denmark much more enjoyable because it was actually cool enough to where everyone in our family had to consider wearing jackets. But if I were to say that there were certain days that were the high point, a little bit rusty. We've had one ping pong podcast in the past month, so I got to get back into the swing of things. If there was specific days and specific locations that were or would be considered the best on a trip, it would probably be in Edinburgh, Scotland. If I pronounce it Edinburgh, a girl that I met in Edinburgh would come over and slap me because she said no one pronounces it Edinburgh, it's Edinburgh.
Well, it's good to get a lesson in pronunciation from the locals.
Yeah. But Edinburgh had some very enjoyable days, as Dad can attest to as well. I'm sure he will share some of those experiences later in the podcast. But then the other really impressive days came in New York, just because New York has some of the latest open and most diverse vegan food on the planet, as well as Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and Hamilton. So it's a pretty good couple days when you combine all those things together.
And who was the cursed child?
I don't remember the name.
You're saying it's Harry Potter's son who's the cursed child? How is he? Well, I guess you don't want to ruin the plot for him.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the plot. Don't want to say it. Sabrina and I were predicting how the story would go during the intermissions of the nearly 6-hour-long play. And we were also talking about how the bad reviews of it do not seem warranted, because in theory, it's like, ow. In theory, it has the same issue as Back to the Future, where if you say the premise out loud, it's insane, and you think you're losing your mind, or at least the writer was losing their mind. But when you go and see it, and you see the theatrics, and you see, the fire going everywhere when people are doing spells, and you see people floating and all this cool stuff, it's like, this is a good show. It did not feel like a 6-hour show. It felt much shorter.
Good save. Good save. What did you think about Hamilton?
I was very glad to go see it. I had heard the soundtrack before on Spotify, and it was fantastic. So I was looking forward to that aspect of the trip, even if it was the very end of the trip, which meant I had to wait a month to go see a story that I already knew the end to, because everybody knows what happens to Alexander Hamilton at the end of Hamilton. And if you don't, well, then you need to go back and study your history books a little bit.
Yeah, the lady in front of us seems surprised.
I'm not sure if any of them will watch this, but I had some friends come up to me before they saw Hamilton or heard the soundtrack or whatever their information about the play was, and told me they were surprised by how it ended. To which I said, how? It's about Alexander Hamilton. There's only one way the story ends. And so that made me forcibly throw my hand up to my face in frustration.
So what kind of memorable meals did you have on our trip?
I'm trying to think of what was kind of interesting was some of the best flavors did not come from vegan restaurants. Now, where was it that we got? I think it was Madrid, where there was a little place with a sushi platter down underneath a mall somewhere, next to a huge fish market. And I had some soupless ramen or something like that, and the flavors were absolutely fantastic, even though the only ingredient in the whole thing was noodles and whatever spices they were using. That's not to say that I had bad vegan food. I think Dad should be the one to explain avocado love.
Avocado Love is a restaurant in Madrid entirely devoted to loving the avocado. And so pretty much every dish, including the drinks, have avocado. Now you can get water without avocado. But basically all the dishes are based around avocado. And it was very good. There's just a lot of avocado.
So if avocado is not your thing, might be a good place to stay away from. It was new too. That was the incredible part. Was it like just opened a month ago? They said, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But
the point of the trip was that Sabrina was performing the end of July and the beginning of August in two separate 2-week apart performances that you've probably seen already on Facebook if you're following us. And so we went about a week before the first one, and then to get over the jet lag, etc. And we went to Madrid and Paris, and then we went to see her performance in Salzburg, and then she had a few days off, so we took her to Munich.
Should say, whee!
Took her to Munich with us for a few days, and then Jacob and Mary and I had about 10 days to waste, to spend. So we
Enjoy.
went to enjoy. There you go. We had about 10 days to enjoy, so we then went to Venice, Italy, and we went to Padua to see a Sting in concert, and we saw the Biennale art exhibit in Venice, which was pretty neat. And then we went to Copenhagen because Jacob wanted to see David Guetta, who was performing in Malmo, Sweden, which is just a short commuter train ride away from Copenhagen. So we spent 4 nights in Copenhagen and went to Malmo for 1 day to see the Big Schlap, which was basically a electronic dance music concert with 7 or 8 artists, and we saw the last 4. It was really impressive because they do lots and lots of effects and lots of controlling the way the music flows to make everybody interested and excited, and it's really something to see. So we saw Armin van Buuren and Timmy Trumpet and then David Guetta. I think we saw somebody before that. I can't remember whose name it was.
Nobody can.
And then we went back to Salzburg and saw Sabrina's next 2 performances. And we went to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
And we went to the military tattoo is one thing that you and I didn't count as a concert. Right? We were talking about before. Mary said we went to 12 days of live performances.
Which was
So
accurate.
Huh?
Which was accurate.
So the military tattoo is the one with all the bagpipes and drums marching around at the Edinburgh Castle. And so we went to that, and then the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. There's also an Edinburgh Arts Festival, where we just really went to the Fringe Festival, where there's just thousands of shows a day. going on that are kind of a little more experimental. And some are free and some are ticketed, but they're usually not that much money. So we went to 2 or 3 things every day. And you never know what you're going to get. And so we saw some great stuff and we saw some other stuff, but it was always fun. You know, it was always, hey, what was that? Why were we watching it? What were they trying to say? How well did they do? What could they have done? What did they do well? Et cetera, et cetera. And there was decent food and stuff's open late in Edinburgh, right?
Yeah. For those of you that were wondering what was with that video of me playing a blow-up saxophone next to a guy that looked like a Trump impersonator, it was from Edinburgh. 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 Woohoo! Donut battle. Ah!
So was Edinburgh the only place where you got to dance, or was there a second place you got to go dance?
Well, Lollapalooza. And, you know, big schlop.
So we went to Lollapalooza when we were in Paris. And who did you want to see at Lollapalooza, Jacob?
Migos.
And so that's more like 5 or 6 stages going on at a time. And so there's rap music, and there's EDM, and there's rock music, and there's all sorts of stuff. And so Mary and I went both days, but Jacob spent a little more time than we did. But we had a good time when we were there. Woohoo!
Uh-oh. Stuck underneath. Would you care to tell them about Holy Bible 2?
The highlight of Edinburgh Fringe Fest shows was a trans performer named Crystal Hightower or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Kind of talked about her transformation from growing up as a young boy to becoming a trans female, and she was really good. Very dramatic. When you talk about drag queen, very much in your face drag queen, and we were literally in the front row. So at one point, Crystal asked me to help remove her clothes, and Sabrina, I think, zipped up a dress, and she made a joke about us during the show about, there's a family here. It's a family show tonight or something, but it was all pretty risque, but really well put together. We saw a magic show that was really good. We saw a show about a boat that was about a show about a boat. That one was,
You forgot to mention that you were the whipping boy at the magic show. That got picked on constantly by the 2 magicians on stage.
That was fun. Yeah, it was a good show. Good, usually I'm not that into magic, but it was more like comedy magic. Like, isn't that what Patton Oswalt says? Comedy and magicians rule the world. Crappy magician, learn a dick joke. Crappy comedian, learn a magic trick. You make $100,000 a year.
How that typically goes is the comedy magician will come on stage, they'll pull out a trick, they'll do the trick, they'll tell a joke, John Wayne Bob it. And then they will throw the trick back in their little hamper so that it's ready to just be picked up and taken to the next show. Couldn't get a good enough angle on that. I feel like besides Trump TV and the Holy Bible 2, I feel like we're missing a show, are we not? From
We were
Edinburgh?
there for 3 days and we saw 2 shows. We went to the dance show.
Yeah.
You want to tell the dance show story?
So, Dad went to the liberty of looking for a Edinburgh event that I could dance at, because I like to do that sort of thing. And the one that he found was a salsa, merengue, tango, mixed Spanish dance demonstration, performance, and class, I guess is the best way to describe it. And it was in this little bar that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me.
The bar under the stairs.
Yeah. But, very neat place, very neat people. And there was a DJ table, they were playing music, and people would be dancing every now and again. And then on occasion, these two owners of the bar would come out in full carnival costume. Just picture traditional carnival, big feather thing on top of their head, and very festive. And they would come out and either do a performance or lead a class, or, well, lead a dance course, we will say, because it was usually only a song or two. And it was from like 10 to 1 o'clock. And Mom, Dad, and Bina probably left somewhere around 11:30, somewhere around there. And I was out till 4 a.m. And so what had happened was I was enjoying myself, having fun dancing, as I tend to do. And just kind of kept hanging around, talking to the people that were at the event. And I met like 7 of the instructors that were the most active in the activities. Wow. Please not the chupacabra. For those that can't see it, we have an actual chupacabra this time in case a ping pong ball tries to go too far away. So I got to talking to the bartenders / dance instructors, and one of them asked me, "Hey Jacob, would you be interested in coming and hanging out with us at another Spanish dance club after we close up shop here?" I said, "Sure." And so I was out with them dancing for like 3 hours, and one of them was the one that would fly to the United States and smack me if I said Edinburgh instead of Edinburgh. Fun night all around, I would say. One of them was like friends with the bar owner of the place that we went to after the course was done, and so we got into a little nice VIP area where it wasn't just a mosh pit of people, and we actually had our own private space to enjoy the music. Whee! And so that was the big night in Edinburgh that was arguably the high point of that trip until we got to New York. And then Hamilton and Harry Potter kind of made a discussion.
The second high point after seeing your sister sing, right?
Wink. I was saying something about Sabrina's performance, just because of the sheer talent of all the people that were there, was the most interesting thing that we did, but there was stuff that was a lot more fun, because the second day of Sabrina's performances was not Sabrina and a bunch of girls that I didn't know, and Dad was there because he had offered to record, because he's the nice guy who wanted the girls to have footage of themselves so that if they wanted to look back and see where they messed up, they could do so, or submit it to whatever programs they may be applying to in the future, because everyone dressed up nice, and it was a very nice event, as I'm sure you all saw. Right? You all make sure to check in and see Sabrina perform.
Like and share.
Like and share and comment. But, it's like, culture shock's not a good word. It was a large amount of different, I don't want to say ethnic, bunch of songs from a bunch of different countries. All of them performed very well. Even when some of the girls messed up, they just hopped right back on the horse and went about it like nothing was wrong.
Was there anybody from any school in particular there?
Coincidentally, there were 3 girls at that camp that are at Chapman University as students right now, as well as a professor from Chapman who I will never have any interaction with because they were a opera professor. But
you're not going to be taking any opera classes at Chapman?
Probably not, no. So it was nice to see a couple more Chapman people as we were running about the world. Interestingly enough, I have bumped into people that either went to Chapman, are currently working at Chapman, or have friends that went to Chapman throughout all the various countries that we visited. And so it was kind of neat that wearing the Chapman shirt, I got a lot of responses from a community that I did not expect to be as large as, say, the Ohio State alumni community.
But I don't think if you see an Ohio State shirt, you don't get excited about it because there's so many of them.
Right.
Whereas you see a Chapman shirt, you're like, oh, wait a second. There's something, much smaller community. Ooh. The program was not all girls. There were several gentlemen who were in the program as well.
Yes.
And you can watch the video, and if you look at my YouTube channel, you can see the full video.
Like, comment, subscribe.
It's HSCOHN is the link to my YouTube channel. It's got the full videos if you want to see the other performers. And I might be able to put a link in the comments too, I guess. Alright, last time we gotta go.
Gotta go pick up some sushi.
Sushi!
Got a coupon.
Coupon!
Discount sushi.
Discounts. No, it's better than either train station or airport sushi.
What about gas station
Gas
sushi?
station sushi?
Yeah. Phew. Oh, dude, come on. Give it a lot. There you go.
Why do you think I was ready to stop? Because I was perfect now. I was ready for it. I'm good to go for some more. No. Hey, I'm jet lagged. And it's put a hole in my ping pong paddle.
I was on the same flight as you, dude.
Good, you slept.
Ah.
Wave goodbye to the nice people. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye, nice people.
See you next time on the Ping Pong
Whee!
Podcast.